This was a good chapter and a nice ending to the volume, but it really just was a showcase to just show how powerful Enel is.
One Piece Chapter 264, Warrior Kamakiri versus God Enel.
Oh, Lord, what a way to end the volume over here, and just things happening everywhere. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim here to bring you another review on the awesome, awe-inspiring, sometimes a little bit hard to detangle the web of different people and places and things tale of One Piece. Our last chapter, of course, saw the main focus, really, to me, was Hattori and Kotori being beaten by Ganfal and Nami. I thought it was a nice moment as well for Nami using the impact dial. And just like the thing with Chopper, it was kind of one of those rising to the occasion and really, taking on a foe or an enemy that otherwise, and by all accounts, really should have probably beaten you. So I thought it was very cool. Things ended up with Robin, of course, being kind of bloodied and beaten looking from Yama, and that's how the chapter ended. The chapter here picks up, and there's a few different things going on. The first of which is we wind up seeing Conis and Pagaya, and that the Shandorian woman, I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but the little girl Aisa, and she's with her now, and they're all together with Conis and Pagaya, and apparently they're talking a little bit about this Aisa, and they'd already hinted at it before, but she can kind of like feel the essences of the people that are in this sort of Hunger Games-ish type thing, or if you want to go and you want to harken back to like an 80s movie, The Running Man was a similar type of thing where they were all dropped in, and had to fight against each other and fight against foes and stuff. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. The point is that they wind up talking about it, and she's really shook up because she can feel like people's essences basically going out of them, people like dying or getting knocked out or whatever left and right, and it's certainly something that doesn't feel good for her. So we wind up seeing them, and they've actually gotten they've left the protection of Ganfal's sanctuary where he had them, I guess, and they're all together on what appears to be like a little ship on a milky road. So then we go and we're taken to the aftermath of the Going Merry, and of course Usopp and Sanji are knocked out, burned, beaten, bloodied, and Ganfal's like getting ready. He's like, all right, I gotta get ready and I gotta go save my people, and Nami's like, what are you doing? You're gonna leave a girl here all by herself? What the hell is wrong with you? And he's like, no, I must, and he knows that Enel is a cruel person and he's got to go save his people, so he's like, sorry. He's like, Pierre, can you fly? And Pierre's like, bye. So anyway, he goes and he's like, good luck to you, and he takes off, and she's like, what the hell, right? So she's going along, she's like, well, I better give them some first aid, and she picks up Sanji and Usopp, and she's like, Jesus. Then she goes and she winds up hearing some music, I guess it is, and winds up seeing on this other milky road that's coming over and converging, or not converging, but going over the top of. She actually goes and sees this other ship, and it looks like at first she's holding up Usopp and Sanji to like hide behind him almost, kind of like, hey, they're still alive, or something like that. I don't really know exactly what the what the point of it was. It was kind of funny though, I thought. To me, it looked like she was trying to hold them up, like, because she didn't know who it was, to like scare them off, like, hey, there's two strong men right here. But anyway, she winds up seeing that it's Conis and Pagaya and all them, and so then they kind of go and meet up, and Aisa's trying to get from the one ship to here, and Pagaya is explaining like, hey, listen, we can get out of here. We created another milky road that's going to go straight to the White Sea. You can escape, blah blah blah, all this sort of thing, right? But obviously we know Nami's not going anywhere until she goes and gets the rest of the crew together. So definitely kind of neat. We see Conis go and she gives, she's going to give Sanji and Usopp some first aid as well, and that's kind of the wrap up, I guess, right there. And then really several pages of the chapter, to me, the kind of bulk or the important meat and potatoes of the chapter, I guess you would say, is really it goes back to Kamakiri and Enel, who had given him 5 minutes to attack him as much as he could, and he wouldn't defend himself or anything. So Kamakiri is going, and he's trying to attack him. He looks all beaten, he looks tired and everything, but he's just really just worn down. And he goes and like shoves this spear right through the side of what appears like through the side of Enel's head, and Enel's just like, all right, are you done yet? Like, seriously, you look winded over there, And he's like, so then he goes, and if this is the big reveal for his power, right? And I kind of had a feeling that his power was something lightning or electricity based, but he goes and he says, you fool, I am lightning. you can't do anything to me. And then he goes and he explains different things. He explains about how, you know, in the past and when other civilizations, you know, when they couldn't, you know, when they couldn't, you know, atone or what am I going to say? When they couldn't have an explanation for some things, they would talk about as the gods, you know, and a lot of times from these like cataclysmic storms and these lightning things, you know. And he goes, and I am, you know, so I am the embodiment of that, you know. And really, it's just kind of him kind of trumping himself up. But the bottom line is, again, this is to actually see the full kind of range of his power, or at least a good taste of it, I guess you would say. So Kamakiri is just kind of, you know, he's got nothing left, right? And he's like, oh, you know what? And Enel's like, well, your 5 minutes are up, so I'm going to have to defend myself now. And he's like, you know, you better run. And Kamakiri doesn't run, but he goes and he's talking, and I don't know if Wiper is nearby or if they have like a telepathic communication or something like that, because he's telling Wiper, he's like, the rejectile doesn't even work on him. Just get away, save yourself type of thing, right? And so he goes and Enel just kind of goes and just sort of charges up or whatever he wants to do, and just goes and he's like, you know, 1 million volt something thing, this big double page spread, man, and I mean just shocks the shit out of everything that's around, and just fries Kamakiri where he stands, right? And you just see this, his body falls and everything, you know, this very stoic look, oh, you know, and he's like this big sacrifice. But the main thing is then you go and you actually see this electricity spreading all throughout Skypiea, or at least through Upper Yard, and you see other people, other of the different angelic warriors, or maybe there's some of the Shandorians, I don't know, but you just see like some outlines of different ones getting shocked and everything like that, depending on where they were. So then it goes back to Enel, and Enel's just like, oh yeah, well I guess my electricity reached all the way to the, I guess my power reached all the way to the Milky Road. Oh, well, no, you know, no big deal. So it kind of an is what it is type of thing. Well, he wound up, his thing actually, his electricity that went out, that burst of energy, wound up killing 20 people. So, you know, this guy certainly is not somebody, I mean, for those of you that have been warning me in the comments, and he's so strong and he's so this, yeah, you weren't lying. Yeah, he's definitely got some freaking power, man, if he can go and do it. And I don't even know if that was the full extent of his power, you know what I mean? But it was almost like a, oops, I accidentally fried some people, you know, so I thought it was kind of cool. It then goes and it takes us, after that display of power, it takes us to a few pages as well of Nico, Robin, and Yama. And Yama's still coming at her, trying to attack her. And as he's doing it, he's basically destroying the runes around them. And she's like, no, these hieroglyphs. And she's trying to protect, you know, and put her arms out and stop from his mountain belly bounce and all this other weird shit that this big tool is doing. And I just don't really like this guy, because he's like, and she's like, you're destroying all of this stuff, you know, and he's like, I don't care about this broken ruined city. And she's like, yeah, those that try to, you know, forget about or have no respect for the past are doomed to repeat it, you know. And he's just like, don't talk to me about this and that, you know. And she's like thinking in her mind, she's like, I got to get him away from these runes so he doesn't destroy everything, you know what I mean? There's obviously a lot here that she wants to go and read up on and everything else. And of course, having her background as an archaeologist, to her, this is like, you know, this is like really bad, man. You know, this is not really good. This is like, you know, spitting in the cook's food or something like that. It's not because of her background, this is especially something that pisses her off. So I thought it was kind of cool to go and see that, and you see her, and the thing that I don't get, though, and I don't understand the full extent of her powers. I mean, this Yama must be very strong, but I don't understand why she hasn't been able to take him out yet. I don't care what his strength is, but I mean, she went and boasted in Alabasta about taking out, you know, Pell like he was nothing, by just basically doesn't matter about your speed or your strength, because I can sprout limbs from anywhere and just basically mess you up and, you know, beat the shit out of you. So, but I guess clearly that must be on a different level, because now they're in Skypiea and this Yama must be very strong. Or she maybe just has been holding back and not really fully releasing her powers yet, I guess. I don't know. All I know is it looks like she's gotten beaten around a little bit, and she's gotten hit several times by this fella. So it then goes and takes us, and I thought this was kind of cool. It takes us to, you know, to the end over here. Well, once, of course, there's the discharge, the silence, 20 voices, and everything else from Enel. But then it goes and it gives us a rundown of Upper Yard, the survival game. There were 81 fighters to start. Time passed 2 hours. And you kind of see different, you see Yama, you see Robin, you see all these different bloodied and beaten, you see Chopper, right? 56 have fallen. So there's only 25 left now, right? So we got, of the gods' forces, 13 remain. So he's still got, obviously, Olm is still around, his dog. I don't know if that counts as one separate one. Enel, we know, is. And then, of course, some of his, probably some of his Heavenly Warriors. We know Yama, of course. And then it goes and it says, of the Shandians, 7 still stand. And the only one, at least, that we've seen so far that is of real consequence, of course, is Wiper. He seems to be very strong. But and then it says, and of the Straw Hat crew, 5 are left. Total number left standing, 25. So I don't know exactly who he's all counting in that and whatnot, because of the Straw Hat crew, I know that Usopp and Sanji are technically down. So I guess you would say that, okay, Nami's still up, Robin's still up, Chopper's still up, Zoro's still up, and Luffy's still up. But it isn't like, I don't know if this just means knocked out from the game or what. I don't really quite understand the rules of the game, because you know that Sanji and Usopp they're knocked out. I don't know if they're going to be knocked out for like the rest of, the game or the rest of Skypiea or what, but they're just unconscious. They're not dead like we assume many of the other participants in this game are. So anyway, that's how the volume wraps up, though, and that, of course, that's how the chapter ends. That's how the volume wraps up. And all in all, I thought it was a lot of fun. You had dangled a lot of different threads over there, but really, I guess my chapter question is going to be, what are your thoughts on what I was saying earlier about the fight between Yama and Robin? Is Robin just that is she just that overmatched against him, or is Yama just that much stronger than her? Or is it just that she's holding back on her powers? Because it certainly seems like, just thinking here, of course, of what these powers can do, it certainly seems like she could have, really messed him up. I mean, why couldn't she have pulled an arm out off of his body somewhere and pulled his dials that he has off of him and used them against him? I guess I'm just spitballing here, but these are the questions that keep me up at night. So if you could leave your answer to what you think about this fight and the extent of Robin's powers and why she hasn't gained the upper hand in the battle yet, leave that answer in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Do you enjoy scars, pointy things, or holding a sword in your mouth? If you do, come on over to my Facebook or Instagram page and take a look at some more of these drawings.